Hello, my name is Dante Renee from the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, this is 1990's very interesting In the Cold of the Night. In the Cold of the Night, and the line on the poster says, "Some dreams should never come true." And this is actually put out by Vinegar Syndrome here on Blu-ray, and this is directed by Nico Mastorakis. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Very interestingly enough, this is the director that did Island of Death, and wow. He did Island of Death. Have you ever seen Island of Death? You have to see Island of Death. It is a pretty infamously shocking, disturbing, offensive film that I absolutely love. But it has plenty of talk online, so it, most likely wouldn't be a video on this YouTube page. But that's the director who did In the Cold of the Night, and this movie is drastically different than Island of Death. And in terms of the actors and actresses we have in here, we have people from Star Trek 4, we have people from RoboCop, we have, I love Brian Thompson, from Cobra, somebody from Starsky and Hutch. We even have Shannon Tweed, yes, Gene Simmons' wife, who is in Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death, which I might be looking at in the future on this YouTube page. So we have really a lot of interesting people in here. We even have unbelievable cinematography by Andreas Bellis, who did Thriller, A Cruel Picture, with Christina Lindbergh. So, man, In the Cold of the Night, let's get into this film. Now, this is actually rated NC-17. And probably some, I don't know when the NC-17 rating came out, but probably pretty early on in the NC-17 MPAA rating process, possibly, in between R and X. Now NC-17 is pretty much anything that's unrated on, DVD or Blu-ray or, and a lot of our art house films tend to be NC-17. So let's look at In the Cold of the Night from 1990. Now, In the Cold of the Night truly gives you the late night cable movie sleazy vibe. Not just sleazy, though. It just gives you that late night, remember Cinemax, Skinemax? If you love those movies, I mean, you're going to immediately recognize the vibe of this film. And being 1990 also, we have great play in the film with the clap-on lights. You get to see laser discs, I believe, CDs. I mean, you're really in the culture of 1990, which is just so cool. I don't remember the last time I saw a movie with a laser disc being watched. And it's a movie where the heart of the film is in California. I believe specifically Culver City, I think one of the license plates said. So beautiful California days, sunny, palm trees. I don't know the vicinity. I believe some of this was Venice Beach as well. You just feel California, Southern California, when you watch this film. It's truly 1990 California, Southern California. And we have a photographer who does work with models and bikinis and thongs and things like that, real kind of glitzy shots and glamour shots. He lives in his own kind of studio place, so he's living in his studio. He has a bed that lights up, and it's a water bed, which was also very popular, I think, in 1990, even in the 80s. Photographs of all of his models all over his place, real, just kind of a lush studio type of apartment, home. We even have one of the most amazing mansions I've ever seen, possibly in a movie. I'm dead serious on this, and a lot of the movie is shot here. Maybe kind of the second half of this 113-minute film. The second half of it is there. and it's unbelievable. I mean, where Nico got this location from, I have absolutely no idea. We even have some homeless men and pizza, lots of pizza eating. We have obviously dreams and the kind of the dream worlds, psychology and dream analysis. But even further than that, we have elements of, at times it reminded me of the Masters of Horror episode, that series Masters of Horror that had 2 seasons, done by Mick Garris, the one episode directed by Mick Garris called Chocolate, or Chocolat, or I don't want to say Chocolat, that might be the Johnny Depp film, but Chocolate, I think it's called. And it reminded me, elements of that reminded me of that. You even have elements possibly of course, you're going to make the, you know, kind of allusions of Nightmare on Elm Street, but also really even more so maybe The Slayer in some ways, that horror film The Slayer. But dream analysis, but even more than that, themes of the future, science, manipulation, healing, the human race, the future of the human race, hope for the human race. We have aspects of romance, love, eroticism, sex, the complexities of romance and the complexities of different types of romance and love. We have friendship in the film looked at. Kind of emotional breakdowns, emotional highs and lows, fear, violence, worry, anxiety, loss of control. And sexuality, again, is a big part of the film, but it isn't the whole film. But it's a big part of the film, not so much in the storyline of the film, but in the kind of lush sex scenes in the movie that granted it its NC-17, I guess, world. In the Cold of the Night has unbelievable lighting. Lush cinematography. I mean, wow. It almost exists in its own world. Like, it's like surreal in that it's the way things are shot, like this motorcycle or the inside of this guy's studio apartment or the mansion, or, you know, even shots on a motorcycle, you know, outside. Everything is very like otherworldly in the way that it's shot. I mean, it really is it's like crack cocaine for your eyeballs. I mean, I'm not even going to make any qualms about it. It is lush, man. And we even have kind of Predator-like shots of the inside of our minds as well, which kind of look a little rougher. We have huge twists and turns in this film as well. You know, without divulging anything, I was not expecting the storyline at all. This is a movie that could almost be divided into parts, where you have kind of the beginning of the film, which occupies a certain space, and then the middle, and definitely kind of the second half would be occupy its own space as well. So it kind of is like where kind of characters go away from the first half, and now we're kind of entering into the next chapter of the movie. It kind of has that vibe. The dialogue in this movie is also otherworldly. It is insane at times. It's crazy. It's and what I mean by that is characters say things that you just aren't expecting them to say. They say things that are just weird, very, very weird responses, dialogue, and extremely interesting because it's so weird. Just, You'll be fascinated throughout the 113 minutes at just how weird the conversations and the dialogue are, in this film. And that also mixed with the cinematography brings in this whole other world, of course. Nico also seems to bring in exotic flares into the movie involving Greece and exotic foods. Even if you look in the closing credits of the film and the catering, you could probably sense that there was exotic flares from Nico in here as well. Now, musically, wow, there's tons of music in this film. We have great 90s Skinamax sleazy jazzy music. We also have kind of 80s sounding synth, dark, weird atmospheric music, exotic music, oldies music. We got some old stuff, we got kind of a theme song that's almost like 90s pop-ish in a way. There's a lot of music in here. We also, we have the Skinamax 90s jazz, but we also have kind of more traditional jazz music as well, older. So it's all in here. Sleazy vibes, dark vibes, atmospheric vibes. It's all here. Also, I have to say, this is In the Cold of the Night probably has the most indoor motorcycle riding I have ever seen in a film before. For some reason, it just really sucker punched me a lot in this film. There was so much indoor motorcycle riding, it was incredible. In the Cold of the Night has full nudity from the women, not the vagina though, but you're definitely getting the butts and the boobs, and humping and grinding and being intertwined in guy's butt, but you're not getting any penis or vagina in this film. I mean, maybe today this could have been a hard R. I don't know, but there is definitely, I would say, some pretty hot sex scenes in here. And Shanna Tweed looks great, and the other woman as well, who is in the movie, somewhat Brazilian. Is her name Adrienne Sachs? Or Tippi Hedren. I don't no, it's not Tippi. You know what? I don't know what her real name is, but she's also has a great sexuality to her. If you like butts, you're gonna like this movie a lot. If you like breasts, you're gonna like this movie a lot as well too. And fuller figured, thicker women. In the Cold of the Night is crazy at times. It's romantic at times. It's conflicting at times. It's dark. It's weird and bizarre and beautifully 90s. In the Cold of the Night is really unlike anything I've seen before, especially once we get to the twists and the turns of the film. And as you're kind of watching the movie, you're trying to figure out where it's going. And the beautiful thing about the movie is that it doesn't have to keep moving towards another resolution. It can just stay where it is for a while. Just stay there for a while. Let us snoop around a bit, as the main character does in the mansion. 1990s In the Cold of the Night. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like this one. Please feel free to check out my own personally made films at Vimeo.com/poopy diarrhea. It used to be YouTube.com/poopy diarrhea, but now it is Vimeo.com/poopy diarrhea. POOPY diarrhea. And you can follow me there. Thank you so much, and good night.